Hi friends, Sue here with SMB Jewelry Designs and Galloping Kitty. I hope you're all having a wonderful night wherever you are. Welcome back to those of you who have been watching me or are returning for another video, and welcome to everyone who is new here. We are a creative channel. Sometimes I will show you things that I'm working on, other times we'll create, we'll experiment, and tonight is another one of those kind of experimental videos. I have shot this video 3 times. This is the third time. And I'm so intrigued with what I did here. I just really felt like I wanted to share it. Halloween is right around the corner. So this is a great project. If you wanted to try something like this, not necessarily for Halloween, but for anything. And it's a lot of fun. And I enjoyed experimenting with it. So let's get right into it. You guys know that I've been working with these crescent moon molds for a while now. I've had a couple videos out about them. This video is not about making these or doing anything with these molds. However, this particular moon got me to thinking about something that I'd like to create for Halloween. And then, of course, spin-offs of this can go in many different directions. So I was looking at this one day and looking at my other moons and thinking, what can I do with these? And I thought, I would love to have a bat in the background on this moon, just kind of flying in the night sky. I could bring other pieces in, like some of these little tiny moons that I've made in other molds that I have, some of my potion bottles, some of these little stars. And I thought, how can I do that? I've got these guys all made, but I don't have a bat, and I don't have any molds. And I don't want to buy a mold. I figured I can do something, right? So I started thinking about different things I have. I have a lot of wire because, of course, I like to make jewelry and stuff as well. I also have a wire that I bought that I wasn't sure what I was ever going to do with it. So I am going to show you what I've been experimenting with and then what I ended up creating from that. So bear with me for just 1 second while I see if I can find the wire that I was using. All right, so I couldn't find my spool of wire, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's flat wire that comes on a spool, and you can get it in most craft stores. And the flatness of it and the width of it makes it a perfect structural wire to use to make something. So I said, I need a bat, right? So I found a bat, an image of one on the internet. I put this piece of paper over my screen because my printer wasn't working, traced it out. So this is just a trace over my computer screen. Used a Sharpie, traced it all out. Took that flat wire that I hadn't been using, now I can't find, and I simply bent out a pattern with that wire, using my sketch as just a rough guide as to how big I wanted it to be and what I wanted it to look like. So my little crescent moon will sit behind him somewhere. I don't know exactly how yet, but that's where I'm going. That's what I'm looking for. This is so easy to bend, super, super malleable, easy for anybody. You can do these curves and these bends with your fingers. You don't need special tools. If you have pliers, they'll help, but you don't need them. Just keep that in mind. So, as I said, I'd filmed this video many times before. I've already made a creation out of this. I took this wire off and it came off quite easily. But what I did originally was I masking taped the connection points of the wire right here together. I laid this down on a silicone mat, and originally I used the non-sticky blue tape that you can use for like open bezels and things like that up here. All right, so what I did was I taped these ends together, put it down on the blue sticky tape, and then I took some UV resin and ran a bead of UV resin all the way around where the tape met the metal so that this laid flat like that. And I had a bead of UV resin all the way around. I put it under my UV light. and cured it to hopefully provide another barrier for the resin not to leak out, especially down here where the tape ends are. So after I finished all of that, I mixed up some resin, poured the resin in, and put it in my resin curing machine to let it cure for 2 hours. And when I was done, I had a bat like this. Now, this is the back side. Don't freak out. This is the bad side. This is the back that was up against the tape. I'm going to tell you right now, I probably wouldn't use the tape again because it left a lot of creases. It doesn't lay flat, especially for something this big. I should have just left the bead of UV resin on there, left it on a silicone mat, and just let it to cure. But you live and you learn. That's why this is an experiment. So this was the back. I did mix glitter in with it. So it was a black mica powder. And then I put these little square beads of green glitter. The green, I don't know, something about the black and green for Halloween. I just like the combination. Anyway, I put those on here and this is what I ended up with. Now, the back side ended up being like a mess, like I told you, but the front side looked fine. It was just plain black though, because all the glitter settled to the bottom on the back, which is what I thought. I think it turned out super cute. So I am going to pour another layer of resin over the top of this, cure it, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the back. So I ended up doing a second coat and put some more of that glitter in, and this is what I ended up with. And it turned out really cool. I really like how it ended up looking. So what I did next is I was getting ready to figure out how to attach this to my moon and realized I needed to take apart this masking tape down here because I was going to leave this metal on my bat. But as I took this apart and started to try to take this masking tape and resin off, this just started peeling right away from my bat, which is actually a good thing because I really didn't want to leave it attached to the metal if I didn't need to, because it's just, I don't know, it would have been fine, but I would have preferred it without it. So that's what I did, and this is what it ended up looking like. So now my next step will be to adhere my little moon to my bat somehow, and then put some of my little creative pieces somewhere on here. Not exactly sure what it's going to look like. I might put them on there like this. You use a little UV resin. Not sure I'm going to use these little medicine bottles I poured. I just don't think it goes with the aesthetic of this. I'd rather do like a witch or something and then have these little poison bottles, or a skull and crossbones perhaps for next year. So I have these and they're ready to go whenever I decide to use them. But I love the way that this looks, and what I'll end up doing is using a UV resin to attach it here, or perhaps an E6000. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll attach these little guys. Maybe I won't use the moon. Maybe I'll just do a star somewhere. I don't know. I have to still think about what I want it to look like when I'm all done with it, but I just wanted to come on quickly and share with all of you, really quick, short video about how to do something with maybe materials that you can easily find or that you might already have that can give you a look that you might want, especially something simple like this. If you're doing a bat or even a crescent moon, or if you wanted to do a star, something like that. Those are relatively simple shapes that you could bend this wire very easily into and then use it to create a frame to pour resin in. The biggest trick of the whole thing is just making sure that it doesn't leak too much on you. And that's what I'm still kind of toying with, but I think I'm onto something as far as, I don't know why I'm trying to shove this on here while I'm talking to you, because I just wanted to show that's what it looked like. But as far as the UV resin and the silicone mat, I think that's a great idea for this. I liked the sticky tape. I just wish it hadn't left that residue and that stickiness behind. There's a couple of things that could have happened there. It might just be because I put it into the resin curing machine. And the only reason I used the resin curing machine is because I was afraid it was going to leak, so I wanted to set it up as quickly as possible. That having been said, I think it cured the tape more to the resin than it would have otherwise. And again, I don't like using the tape now because of what it does to the back. It leaves a lot of wrinkles and a lot of hills and valleys, which don't exactly intrigue me. I did have to sand it down a little bit because there was a lot of stickiness left behind here from when I took the tape off. So I think the next step now is just to see if I can potentially sand this down a little bit more, and fill in some of the gaps with resin. But since this is probably my prototype and I don't have any intention of selling it, I might just keep it exactly as is and then just move on from there. So I think we're going to play around with some of these ideas a little bit more coming up in another video. I might do a Christmas tree shape perhaps, because I think that could be really cute with some of these little guys. Not this bottle, but things like this that you can create pretty easily that might look like decorations for the Christmas tree. You could do a little star on the top of it. So I'm going to play around with some more of these ideas, and we'll be sharing them as we go forward towards the end of October, beginning of November, probably. So look for more to come. But I hope that this helped you out. If you're interested in doing things creatively yourself, but you don't necessarily have everything that you need, it is doable to come up with something yourself. And you don't have to have one of those resin curing machines to do this. If you can figure out a way where your resin won't leak too much, or if you have the means, you could put all UV resin down as the first layer, let it cure under under your lamp, and then pour the other resin in, and you should be fine. Because like I said, I had UV resin and regular resin, and it peeled off just fine. And I haven't had any problems with this UV resin layer coming away from my resin because the resin's right on top of it. So that didn't prove to be a problem, and that's what I thought I might have a problem with. So yeah, more to come, but just as I said again, hate to repeat myself, but I kind of got sidetracked there. You can do this yourself, and I will put a list of the tools and the items that I used down below in this description so that you have them in case you want to try this out. You should be able to find wire like this at your local craft store. If you can't, I'm quite sure you can find it on the internet. So if I can find it at Michael's, where I'm pretty sure I got it, it might have been there or Hobby Lobby, I will put the link to that store below, and I'll also see if I can find it on Amazon and put the link to it there as well. Hope you enjoyed this really quick video, little spooktacular video for making your own creations. In this case, it was a bat. I had a lot of fun making this. I wish I could have put more of the process down, but I had already made it, and my video was so bad. I had something on the camera that I wasn't aware of. It made it all blurry and just didn't work. So take that for what it is. If you'd like to see me doing something else like this in real time, again, I will have a video coming out soon for Christmas. So stay tuned for that. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked this. If you want more content like this, leave me a comment if you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see something else or share your own experiments, I would love to hear about it. Leave a subscribe if you're so inclined. It really helps me out, and I appreciate all of those of you who have already subscribed and those that are yet to subscribe. Have a wonderful, pleasant, safe, happy day, night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, my friends.